It's the Xerox National League Championship pregame show, brought to you by the Document Company. Xerox. Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge.
Well, here in San Diego, it's not dead like it was at the TED. 65,000 Padres fans, a sellout here at the Mighty Q, are on hand for Game 3 of the National League Championship Series between the San Diego Padres and the Atlanta Braves. They are roaring, they are rocking, they are ready to go, and the Braves might be reeling, folks. They're down 2-0 with Game 3 coming up here in a few minutes right here on Fox. Hello again, everybody. I'm Chip Caray, and welcome to the Xerox National League Championship pregame show. As always, I'm joined by my partner, Steve Lyons. What a change of venue. What a change in excitement and electricity. This place is about to burst.
And these fans have good reason to be that excited. This Padre pitching staff has done an unbelievable job all year long. They've never been given any respect. You want to hear about respect? The 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters in that Brave lineup, they're 3 for 28. They have no home runs, no RBIs. I think they deserve a little bit of respect for that pitching staff.
Well, if these Padres aren't careful, they're going to go from being the underdogs to the big dogs. They're very close to having that happen right now. They take 2 in a row down in Dixie, and obviously they come home very, very happy as they take on Atlanta in Game 3 this afternoon.
Riders on the storm, yeah.
That's a lot by Andy Ashby. He's been struggling, but had a great bullpen and came off that feeling good and went out there and just did a tremendous job.
Back at the track of the wall, Caminetti to put the Padres on top, 3-2 in the 10th.
It was a Kevin Brown show.
The other night, incredible. He was, Dick Vitale said, TP here, you know, he was total package.
He's just a Superman.
Got him over the outside corner. An 11 strikeout night for Kevin Brown. And the Padres have just swept the first 2 games of this LCS here in Atlanta. Yes, indeed, the Padres dominated Atlanta down to Dixie. That's great news for Padre fans. Maybe even getting better news today. Greg Vaughn could see some action today, tomorrow, or Game 5.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy has said now that if it's a game-winning situation in Game 3, will not hesitate to use them to get a big run, maybe a home run or drive in a run somehow. They have been working him out. He took batting practice today, but playing in a game is a lot different than just working out on the side. He's not going to ask him to go out there and beat out a ball in the 6th hole, I can tell you that.
Well, hitting fans just want to see somebody hit the ball out of the ballpark and make some contact. It's been a pitching-dominated series. The crowd here in San Diego wants to see the Padres take Game 3 from the Atlanta Braves. Greg Maddux, he of 4 Cy Young Awards, will take the mound for Atlanta. He'll try to put the Braves in the win column for the first time in this year's NLCS, and he'll be opposed by left-hander Sterling Hitchcock here in San Diego. We'll have more after this. We're minutes away from Game 3 of the NLCS here in San Diego. 65,000 on hand. The Braves are ready. The Padres are ready. Atlanta down 2-0. They need that man, Andres Galarraga and company, to start hitting the baseball. Meanwhile, the Padres have played nearly flawlessly afield and on the mound. Hi again, Chip Caray along with Steve Psycho Lyons. This game is a huge ball game for the Atlanta Braves. Since 1985, no team down 2-0 after losing both games at home has won or gotten to the World Series. Greg Maddux, though, says no time to panic yet.
Well, we were down 3-1 against St. Louis. So, you know, that's probably worse than being down 0-2. You know, we're going to play the games. We're going to do what we can to play the games right and not worry about the outcome. We're going to concentrate on the things we have to do to play the game right, and that's it.
Well, you know, Greg Maddux is going to be cool as a cucumber, but I don't know how cool he'll be if he ends up losing Game 3 today.
Well, he did say they were down 3-1 to St. Louis, but that was a different ball club. They then faced Smoltz, Maddux, and Glavine were the next 3 pitchers. You felt like they were very confident and very solid. I don't get that same feeling from this club right now.
Well, as we get ready for Game 3, the field is a big storyline in today's ball game. They had a college football game here last night. San Diego State hosted Hawaii. Before the players even left the field after the game concluded, they were tearing down the goalposts, getting this field ready for baseball, had to rebuild the mound. The outfield is very choppy. They've done a pretty good job, has the ground crew, getting this ballpark and field ready for play. They call it, though, the minefield. It's like a bunch of gophers went out in the field. and chopped up the outfield grass, so it won't be very comfortable for either team today in the field.
That's bad news for everybody, but it's even worse news for the Braves because they're playing poor defense right now. This is the team that led the National League in team defense, but right now they look bad. Look at Lopez trying to pick off Kevin Brown twice. The second time it gets away from him. Let Brown stay there. He's not going anywhere anyway. Then Odalis Perez on the mound for the Braves fails to get over and cover first base against Steve Finley. That's a base hit. Very next hitter, Joyner, same situation. Galarraga boots the ball. Odalis Perez was not over there to make the play anyway. Silvio Veras scores, and this is a problem for a team that's very solid defensively. We know that pitching and defense wins championships. You got to throw a hit in there every once in a while, but right now the Braves are only getting pitching, no hitting or defense.
As you said, they look a little dazed and confused. They hope as well that the song won't remain the same. I hope you pardon the Led Zeppelin reference there. As today, Greg Maddux and Sterling Hitchcock get together for this third game of the National League Championship Series. This is a huge game for Maddux.
Well, it is really big for Maddux, and I'll tell you what, I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid, Chip. I'm not going to bet against that guy, but Sterling Hitchcock is the guy that went out and dominated Game 4 against the Astros, against Randy Johnson. He's pitching very well right now, and this team's on a high.
And I'll tell you what, the crowd is going to be a huge lift for this San Diego ball club. You see the starting pitchers today. 65,000 Padre fans going nuts here in San Diego, and we should see a dandy. It's Game 3 coming up next between the Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. When we come back, Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Bob Brenly will have all the excitement from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego as the National League Championship Series continues here on Fox.
San Diego, California, and welcome to Qualcomm Stadium. Game 3 of the 1998 NLCS. The Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. The folks here couldn't wait. They'll pack in 65,000 plus to welcome home their Padres after they swept 2 games in Atlanta. And we welcome you to the broadcast booth, everybody. I guess it's time to shout. It's loud here in San Diego. Tim McCarver to my right, Bob Brenly to my left, and Bob, I guess when you look at San Diego, a lot might be surprised that they won 2 games in Atlanta. They're up 2 games to none. But if you start to look at the way they played this postseason, it shouldn't surprise anybody. They have deserved to be up 2 games to none.
Well, in Oakland, they used to call it Billy Ball. In St. Louis, they called it Whitey Ball. Here in San Diego, they call it, what else? Bochy Ball. See the winning formula in the postseason: aggressive base running, timely hitting, good defense, and exceptional pitching in the postseason. How exceptional? Let me tell you about it. Against the Astros, the #1 run-scoring team in the National League, they completely shut down the middle of the order. So far in the NLCS against the Braves, same deal. Shut down the middle of a very strong offense. Say it, Joe, you can call it whatever you want, but it adds up to winning baseball.
Winning baseball that has the Padres up 2 games to none. And as you start to think about the Atlanta Braves, they throw an ace in Game 1, didn't work. They throw an ace in Game 2, didn't work. Today they throw their ace in Greg Maddux.
And Bob was talking about exceptional pitching for the San Diego Padres. That's exactly what Greg Maddux has done throughout the 90s for the Atlanta Braves. He has pitched exceptionally well with one exception. The second half of the 98 season. The 4-time Cy Young Award winner, 6 and 7, a 3.18, his worst second half since he pitched for the days, or with the days of the Chicago Cubs. Will the old Greg Maddux show up today, or the new Greg Maddux? One thing to keep in mind, back in 1996, Atlanta trailed the St. Louis Cardinals 3 games to 1. They not only came back to win 3 in a row, but gave up 1 run in the process.
Well, if it was a docile atmosphere, as some called it in Atlanta, it will be anything but 65,000 plus here in San Diego. This place is ready to shake. First pitch of Game 3 coming up right after this on your home for the 1998 World Series.
Series is brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach. By Boston Market. Boston Market guarantees 100% satisfaction when your meal is on us. And by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
Sterling Hitchcock leads the San Diego Padres to the field. You want a home field advantage? You got it. Now the starting lineup for the Atlanta Braves. They lead it off with Walt Weiss. He'll be backed up by Gerald Williams in right field with Chipper Jones hitting third at third. Andres Galarraga cleans up at first. Andrew Jones is in center with Eddie Perez catching Greg Maddux this afternoon. Danny Batista's in left field. Tony Graffinino at second base, and Greg Maddux is pitching and batting ninth. A look at the San Diego defense. They have yet to commit an error in this 1998 NLCS. They had 3 in the division series, and that defense has backed up outstanding pitching and trying to follow suit with that outstanding starting pitching this afternoon. The left-hander Sterling Hitchcock.
Those numbers you see in the division series were the big matchup against Randy Johnson. Sterling Hitchcock pitched the game of his life. Look at the scouting report on Sterling Hitchcock. He'll go to the splitter and the changeup when ahead in the count, especially with 2 strikes to right-handed hitters. Fastball has a little more zip this year with some tail on it, and as much as any other pitcher in baseball, he gets swinging strikes on pitches that are out of the strike zone.
Bob, I think because of that, the Atlanta Braves have to run on Sterling Hitchcock a lot more than they would normally, because a lot of those balls out of the strike zone are splitters in the dirt. And you do have Jim Leyritz, who is not the regular catcher behind the plate today.
As always, the broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. A completely different atmosphere here in San Diego. Walt Weiss leads it off for Atlanta, and Hitchcock misses with ball 1. If they are used to postseason play in Atlanta, and they've got great fans in Atlanta, and that is a franchise the envy of most in baseball. The folks here in San Diego are watching an NLCS here at home for the first time since 1984, and they are thrilled to be here on Saturday, October 10th. 1 ball, 1 strike from Hitchcock. 2-1 to Walt Weiss.
Now, Tim, you bring up a good point about the Braves running on Hitchcock and Leyritz, and the same thing holds true for the Padres against Maddux and Perez today. Greg Maddux allowed 28 stolen bases in 39 attempts this year.
2-2 on Weiss, who is hitless in this NLCS, and only 2 out of 21 in the postseason, with Gerald Williams to follow, and then Chipper Jones. Pitch was up, and Weiss fouled it back.
The Atlanta Braves have almost twice as many players with postseason experience, but the San Diego crowd is much more inexperienced than the Atlanta crowd, and that makes for a noisy place.
Good start.
Looked like a split finger fastball. It was up in the zone, but enough to fool Walt Weiss, either a splitter or a curveball.
Most hitters don't look for that split finger up in the zone. Usually they don't take it, but you never anticipate the split finger being up around the belt. That's a pitch that most pitchers try to bounce in the dirt.
Weiss now 0 for 9 as Gerald Williams shows bunt, drops it down foul, strike 1. For the postseason, Williams 1 out of 4 in this NLCS. He is 0 for 2. Came off the bench in game 1. Bunts it in the air, 2 out.
You rarely see a hitter come up and try to bunt for a base hit twice. You take them by surprise the first time, not the second time. Easy out for Hitchcock.
And Williams, really, to be bunting for a base hit, squared around fairly early there. Gave the Padres every opportunity to get a step or 2 toward home plate.
Now Chipper Jones looks at a breaking ball low for ball 1 from Hitchcock. Chipper Jones hitting just .167 in this postseason with only 1 RBI. 2-0 from Hitchcock, who wants a new baseball. Pressure on Greg Maddux. If you want to put pressure on any one pitcher in the game today, Maddux would probably be the guy least affected. 3-0 from Hitchcock to Chipper Jones with 2 out, nobody on. Although biting his nails in the dugout, that's more for a manicure instead of a result of nerves.
Well,
3-0.
He does that on days he doesn't pitch. So
2 out, nobody on, and there's ball 4. 4 in a row to Chipper Jones that missed.
Say there's pressure on Greg Maddux, and that's certainly true, but there's also pressure on the Atlanta Braves offense. They've scored 2 runs in 19 2/3 innings now against San Diego.
Now Galarraga. After the 2-out walk, Galarraga 0 for 8 in this NLCS and hitting just .150 in the postseason with 0 driven in. Take a look at the numbers for Galarraga in this postseason. Only 3 singles. That's it. With runners in scoring position, 0 for 4, and during the regular season you're talking about a guy who drove in 121. Galarraga pops it into shallow right. Crowd favorite Gwynn trying to get there, and it drops foul by about 1.5 feet as it hops out of play, and it's a strike on Galarraga.
long run for Tony Gwynn, shading a little bit into the gap in right center, playing very deep for Andres Galarraga, and just not able to get there in time. That ball hung up in the air a long time, but Tony had a lot of yardage to cover out there.
So Galarraga back at the plate with a 1-ball, 1-strike count against Sterling Hitchcock. Two and one. Andrew Jones waiting on deck. Jones has driven in the only 2 runs of this series for Atlanta. Chased it 2-2.
That's the disturbing thing about Galarraga. In 2 fastball counts, he got fastballs, and he's been behind both of them. One with a fly ball down the line foul, and now this one swinging through it.
We go to the bottom of the first inning in San Diego. Ferris, Finley, and Gwynn coming up.
Series is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And by E-Trade, the #1 rated online broker.
Surprised that blimp isn't bouncing up there with all the sound coming from down below in this stadium in San Diego. Greg Maddux gets ready to work, and we take a look at the starting lineup for the San Diego Padres. Bruce Bochy has Kilby Alvarez in the leadoff spot with Steve Finley batting second and center. Tony Gwynn hitting third and right field with Caminiti cleaning up at third. Wally Joyner at first. Jim Leyritz in there catching. John Vanderwall in left. Chris Gomez at short, and Sterling Hitchcock pitching and batting ninth. You're looking at a 4-time Cy Young Award winner, 92, 3, 4, and 5. And you're looking at his numbers in this postseason with 1 victory and 1 start in the division series against Chicago.
It is tough to isolate the second half problems of Greg Maddux, but one thing may be, instead of being wild slightly out of the strike zone, Greg has been wild in the strike zone, highly uncharacteristic.
Under the watchful eye of Leo Mazzoni. Here we go with the first pitch to Veras. Right down the middle from Maddux, strike 1. Veras is 3 out of 8 in this series with Atlanta. He's had 10 plate appearances and reached base 5 times as he's quickly in the hole 0-2. Finley will follow, and then Gwynn. Big swing by Veras to keep it 0-2.
How many times do you see Greg Maddux on an 0-2 pitch make that bad a pitch? Trying to go in with the little ball that comes back. You can see where Eddie Perez is setting up. This ball right over the heart of the plate.
Again, the 0-2 to Veras. And a good start for the Braves and Maddux as he strikes out the San Diego leadoff hitter.
And struck him out on a pitch that was not in the location where it was intended to go. Perez had moved way out onto the outside corner. Watch him reach back across, down and in. Veras unable to hit the pitch, but still Maddux not hitting his spots to the first batter of the game.
And now Finley. And a line drive base hit up the middle. The Padres have their first base runner, Gwynn, walking in. What does he try to do at the plate? A lot of the time, shoot it to the left side. Here are his thoughts.
Shortstop is 6, third base is 5. So the 5.5 hole is the hole between short and third. And that's the hole I've basically made my living, is taking the outside ball and hitting it right between short and third. When I started out with that name, if I could hit a ground ball and make the shortstop go that far in the hole to get it, I could beat it out.
5.5, a bad number in ice dancing, but not for Tony Gwynn. There's the hole that Tony was talking about, 5.5.
The Braves haven't played to go the other way. 1 on, 1 out here in the first inning, and that's off the end of the bat for strike 1. 5.5 has translated into 8 batting titles for Tony Gwynn, and historically one of the toughest 2-strike hitters in the game. One on, 1 out for the Padres in the first, and a check on Finley. I think the Padres are going to do any running against Maddux today?
I think it would behoove both teams, as we mentioned at the top, to be more aggressive on the base paths. Maddux is susceptible to the stolen base. Perez thrown out 27%, a respectable number behind the plate, but I think that's something that the Padres and the Braves should try to exploit in this game.
Gwynn reached up after that pitch, 0-2.
Tony Gwynn has faced Greg Maddux 77 times in his career. With the count 0-2, he has never struck out against Maddux. Never.
Maddux already struck out Veras. Finley a base hit up the middle. Gwynn bounces one to Galarraga. They get the force at second, and among right-handed throwing first basemen, I don't think there's anybody better in the game at doing that than Galarraga.
Well, he's able to do it on the move. A lot of right-handed throwing first basemen have to set themselves, turn their body towards second base, and make the throw. Watch Galarraga. He just continues on, throws off balance. Looks like a third baseman fielding a bunt and throwing on the run. He's able to do the same thing on the right side of the field.
So Gwynn runs at first, and the batter is Caminiti, who has only the 1 RBI. Picked up on the home run, the game-winning home run in the 10th inning. A late night, game 1 in Atlanta. Check on Tony Gwynn. Caminiti just 3 out of 20 in this postseason, and participating in his first LCS. That's the first one out of the strike zone, out of the hand of Greg Maddux. Another one, 2-0.
Now, normally a very good hitter's count here, but we know Greg Maddux can move that ball in many different directions. Sink it away, cut it inside, take a little off, put a little on. You're not going to get a fastball right down the heart of the plate more than likely.
to the right side and through Galarraga. Graffinino keeps it close to the infield, and it's 2 on with 2 out. As Galarraga has struggled defensively in this LCS, even on the heels of that force out off the bat of Gwynn.
In 1984, the only LCS in which the Padres have played, Leon Durham of the Chicago Cubs made a huge error in Game 5. The Braves are hopeful that this is not as costly.
Qualcomm Stadium has always had one of the fastest natural grass surfaces in all of baseball. Plays almost like AstroTurf as far as the speed of ground balls getting to the infielder.
Still waiting on a ruling right now. It's 2 on 2 out for Wally Joyner.
That's got to be an error, doesn't it? I would think. Right through the wickets. He laid a glove on it.
And they have ruled it, scored it, an error on Galarraga. That is his 3rd of this series.
From the 1984 League Championship Series by Bob Verdi of the Chicago Tribune. He said that the infield in San Diego is harder than a Sunday New York Times crossword puzzle.
And as Chip and Steve pointed out in the pregame show, tore this field up playing college football here last night. There's a strike from Maddox. It's 2-1. For the first time backing up this unparalleled pitching staff, at least in recent history, the Atlanta Braves defensively during the regular season had the #1 defense in the National League. The defense has left them in this NLCS as Joyner takes high and now has the count in his favor, 3-1. Three and 2 as Maddox hits the outside corner.
And took a little off. Did not come with a fastball there. 84 miles an hour, perhaps a straight changeup. Although Maddox will throw his fastball at a variety of different speeds. Put a little on, take a little off. That appeared to be the straight change, however.
Runners go. Joyner checked his swing on ball 4, and that'll load him up. A hit, an error, and a walk. And who is the last guy the Atlanta Braves want to see in this spot? Him, Jim Leyritz. Three home runs in this postseason alone. And a late swing and a miss for strike 1.
If this is the first time you've seen Jim Leyritz, he's a very busy hitter. A lot of movement at the plate, waggling the bat, the big high front leg kick. Maddox normally takes advantage of guys that have a lot of movement in their swing.
One ball, one strike. The numbers for Leyritz in his career with the bases loaded and in his career in the postseason: 38 at bats, 6 home runs. That's foul for strike 2. The Braves and their fans are tired of hearing about this and seeing it, but here it is. 6-3 Atlanta, 8th inning, game 4, and this game-tying home run. A 3-run shot off the bat of Leyritz against Wohlers to tie the game. The Yankees would eventually win that game and roll on to the series victory. Now in a Padre uniform. Maddox takes some time.
Maddox looking down at Ken Caminetti, and then he stepped off. Now Eddie Perez going out to the mound. Maybe Greg thought Caminetti was relaying a sign to Leyritz, perhaps. Hey, the Padres have loaded the bases in the first inning. They loaded the bases on Thursday night 3 times, and they still won the ball game. That's the first time in postseason history that a team has loaded the bases 3 times in a ball game and won the game.
There's always some concern when Maddox is on the mound and a runner at second base. The runner at second base can see right into the glove. There you see Maddox changing the grip on the ball.
Layritz stays alive.
He went from the changeup grip, which is very easy to see for a runner at second base looking right into Maddox's glove, went from the changeup grip to the fastball grip. You'll see him there. You see the middle finger and ring finger on the ball. Now the index finger and the middle finger slide into position.
Now the 1-2. Layritz tried to check his swing. He did not. Struck him out to end a long first inning. Layritz strikes out. Maddox gets out of trouble and around a Galarraga error. And after 1 in game 3, no score.
Imagine that Jim Layritz is very busy in that batter's box. All this is meant as a timing mechanism. And against a pitcher like Maddox, who changes speed so well, it's hard to use anything as a timing mechanism. Layritz very upset. He didn't think he went, but you could see from that replay it appeared the bat did get out in front of home plate, and the Braves got the call.
So Layritz strikes out with the bases loaded. We are scoreless into the second inning for Andruw Jones to lead it off, and he's out in front. Strike 1. This postseason, only 1 hit. It was a home run in game 1 back in Atlanta. Later knocked in another run, and he has the only 2 RBIs in this Atlanta Braves lineup. Bobby Cox telling us before the game, when you looked at the tape, and Bob, you were here for the game of Hitchcock against the Houston Astros, even though he struck out 11 in that victory, he threw very few strikes. He is trying to tell his hitters to be patient. So that's easy to say, hard to do, but be patient against Hitchcock, and here it is 3-1 on Andruw Jones.
In the game Hitchcock pitched against the Astros to clinch the division series was also a later start at 5 o'clock Pacific time. A lot of shadows, some very tough visibility.
That's to the left side, right at Gomez. Jones can run, but out easily as Chris takes care of it, 1 away.
Of course, that's not meant to take anything away from the performance by Sterling Hitchcock in that ball game, but it was amazing to watch a good offensive ball club in the Astros continually flail at pitches that were well out of the strike zone.
One of the biggest differences between Sterling Hitchcock and Greg Maddux is that Hitchcock, when he gets strikeouts, usually they're swinging strikeouts. With Maddux, usually the hitter will take the 3rd strike.
Maddux watching as Eddie Perez digs in. 1 out, nobody on, and he takes the ball outside. It's not a bad idea if you're a catcher to sink those hooks into the kind of a pitcher that Greg Maddux is, and when Maddux is on the mound, it's Perez behind the plate. And Eddie can supply this team with some offense. Really, you can say the same lately for Layritz and Hitchcock. Each pitcher this afternoon with the guy he wants behind the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Perez out in front, strike 2.
That was a splitter out of the strike zone down as you take a look at Greg Maddux sitting next to pitching coach Leo Mazzoni. That's a prototypical Hitchcock splitter down in the dirt.
Perez reaching, grounds to Gomez again. Long throw, good throw, 2 out.
Not only was the 1-1 pitch down and out of the strike zone, but the 2-strike pitch was down and out of the strike zone. Here it is again. Fastball misses away. Then the fastball right down the pipe. That splitter down. Now the splitter out of the strike zone, reached for and grounded meekly and weakly to short.
Dave Stewart, who has drawn rave reviews in his first year as the pitching coach here in San Diego. Bautista fouls it back, although Even with the success, Dave is not quiet about the fact that he eventually wants to get back into somebody's front office, and his aspirations are to become a general manager in Major League Baseball. 2 out, nobody on, and Batista fouls it again. Strike 2.
You know, this is just strange looking through the Atlanta guide for this year. We talked about how good a two-strike hitter Tony Gwynn is. Danny Batista, 4 for 49 this year with 2 strikes on it.
It's 0-2. It's 1-2 from Sterling Hitchcock. Still 1-2.
I guess probably a couple of reasons for that. Number one, pitching against him, but Batista's a very aggressive hitter, and apparently with 2 strikes he does not change his approach. A lot of hitters will become a little more defensive with 2 strikes and just try to put the ball in play, perhaps even choke up. There you see that tumbling motion on that ball. That's the split finger moving down toward the dirt.
And again the 1-2 pitch. A little pop-up on the right side. Again a long run for Gwynn. Can he get there? Basket catch in and over. And the Braves go in order. Can we call it 4 out of 50, Tim, or does postseason count?
It does.
4 out of 50 is Batista with 2 strikes. Bottom of the second, no score. Welcome back to San Diego. These aerial pictures are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle based in Carson, California. Goodyear recently increased its blimp fleet to 6, adding 2 airships in Europe and 1 in South America.
Say that fast 3 times. Blimp fleet.
It's not easy. Vanderwall dumps one into left field, a base hit. And John Vanderwall gets his first NLCS base hit.
And it only stands to reason that he goes up there chasing the first pitch. That's what John Vanderwall normally does, coming off the bench as a pinch hitter late in the game. It's a fastball pretty much down the heart of the plate, down a little bit, serves it out into left field.
And Bruce Bochy telling us once again before the game he's going to run on Maddox, a ground ball pitcher. Good time to do it right here. Contact hitter at the plate.
Gomez at the plate, and he grounds one to third. Jones has to wait a minute, out at second, and dug out at first for a 5-4-3 double play. 2 pitches, a base hit, and a double play.
Sometimes a hitter, when he swings at the first pitch, he will not give a manager a chance to put the hit and run on. The best time to do it is if the first pitch is a ball, the 2-1 count, the best count. But Chris Gomez swinging at the first pitch, an easy double play.
See the reaction from Maddox. Way to go as Chipper Jones started it. And now Hitchcock takes a strike from Maddox, 0-1. Greg Maddux is kind of the ultimate gamesman. He's one of those guys you can't beat at cards. Play golf against him. You might play better than him, but he'll find some way to beat you. And he looks at this game of baseball and the game of pitching, and he makes it a game. I mean, he's thinking ahead. What am I going to throw this guy in the 8th inning if I face him? He is the ultimate thinker out there on the mound. Strike 2 on Hitchcock.
Greg's father is a professional poker dealer in Las Vegas.
So watch for Maddox out there. We've got a problem at table 4. 2-2. He is a guy that can, you say count cards. I don't think anybody can truly count cards. Some people say that they can. At least I saw that on Rain Man. Hitchcock stays up there 2-2, and Maddox is a guy that can think ahead, think along, and he brings that kind of a mentality to the game of pitching.
Not only think ahead, but remember what he's thrown guys in the past. Not necessarily the '98 season, but he may remember what he threw a guy 2 years ago to get him out in a similar situation.
He jams Hitchcock. Shortstop Weiss could roll it over there, and Hitchcock is gone. A leadoff hit, a double play followed, and we go to the 3rd. Back to this stadium, Qualcomm in San Diego after this from your local Fox station. Sterling Hitchcock back to work as we move to the 3rd inning. There is no score. Here's my San Diego Chamber of Commerce information coming your way. It's 71 degrees. humidity 68%, and winds 9 miles per hour. And that is one tired-looking palm tree.
That's because Greg Vaughn's hit it about 26 times here at Qualcomm Stadium this year with home run balls. It looked nice at the beginning of the season.
Horsehide is not good for growing palm trees. Pandas, they grow well here in San Diego at the San Diego Zoo, the world-renowned San Diego Zoo, behind the left fielder John Vander Wal as Tony Graffinino leads it off. Just a .211 hitter during the regular season. And he takes the ball low. First chance at the plate in this postseason.
I stand corrected. Greg Vaughn hit 23 homers here at Qualcomm.
That one made that up. And he corrected that. 1 ball, no strikes. And the next from Hitchcock. 2-0.
Talk to Bruce Bochy about Greg Vaughn. Greg Vaughn, if you hear Greg's talk about it, he says that he can play as early as tomorrow. Bruce said he will be the final judge as to when Greg Vaughn plays.
He's going to have to be convinced.
Yeah.
Over the outside corner from Hitchcock, 2-1. And that caught the foot or the leg somewhere of Jim Leyritz, and he is hobbling.
Baseball pedicure.
Amazing. You have all that gear on, and somehow the ball manages to find a way to avoid the gear and hits him right on the right instep.
Makes you long for that position, doesn't it, Bobby?
No. Bobby? Not anymore.
Every time that happens, I look at you two are flinching over that.
Sweat breaks out on my forehead when I see that.
So one right back into the dirt, and Leyritz blocks it. 3-2.
Well, the best thing that can happen if you're Jim Leyritz now is to get hit with a foul tip somewhere else to take your mind off your foot.
The 3-2 from Hitchcock. Graffinino stays up there, and that pitch stayed up there.
It's a big at bat for the Braves. If Graffinino can find a way to get on base ahead of Greg Maddux, as you get a look at that high fastball up and out over the plate. Maddux is a very dangerous pitcher at the plate. He can bunt, he can butcher boy, fake a bunt, swing away.
A little low for a leadoff walk, and that's the second walk handed out by Sterling Hitchcock. Tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday, the Carolina Panthers head to Dallas to take on Michael Irvin and the Cowboys, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Check your local listings.
What that butcher boy is designed to do is to have the pitcher or whomever square around, pull the infielders in, and then chop it either over their heads or by them, left or right.
Here's Maddux showing bunt awfully early. Bunting it back to Hitchcock. Ball backed up like his approach on the 18th green, and Maddux gets the sacrifice down. Scored 1-4.
Well, Maddux did square early, but he's able to get some backspin as he pops that ball out in front of home plate. Hitchcock initially, I think, had thoughts of going to second base, but because that ball did check up on the infield grass, did not bounce as high as Hitchcock was anticipating, forced to take the out at first.
Only a guy like Greg Maddux can square around that early and have the infielders not charged, because he's famous for that butcher boy play.
So Graffinino at second, and the batter is Walt Weiss. And the numbers don't look good for Weiss or Atlanta in this position. If Weiss fouls it back, Walt 0 hits in his last 16 postseason at bats with runners in scoring position.
I think a major reason for that, Joe, is what we saw right there. Walt Weiss hacking at the first pitch. Granted, a runner in scoring position right now, and most hitters are more aggressive with runners in scoring position. But Weiss's strength throughout the season has been working deep in the count.
Runner at second with 1 away, and Weiss takes the ball 1-1.
2 times in game 1 of this series, Walt Weiss swung at the first pitch and tapped to the first baseman. Very uncharacteristic aggressiveness from Walt Weiss.
Hitchcock trying to pitch around a leadoff walk. He issued that to Graffinino. He's at second with one away. And Weiss pops it up right side. And it will get out of play for strike 2. Jim Leyritz is wearing the catcher Cam Forrest this afternoon on a warm day here in San Diego. Not too warm, though. 71 degrees warm, and try to give you a couple of shots as we go along here in the 3rd inning from catcher Cam with a runner at second and one away.
With 2 strikes, base runners have to be aware of that splitter in the dirt.
Weiss looped one into center field, a base hit. They will bring Graffinino around, and the throw from Finley. Bouncing in there, and Graffinino's safe to put Atlanta out in front 1-0 here in the 3rd. Not a very strong throw from Finley in center, and the base hit by Weiss makes it 1-0 Atlanta.
And this is the first time that the Atlanta Braves have been ahead of San Diego since Andruw Jones's home run way back in Game 1. Looked like a splitter. Walt Weiss caught it before it went down. Finley's throw is low enough to hold Weiss to first base, but not a good throw by any means by Steve Finley. It hits the mound, and a guy who normally has a pretty good idea. Looked like the third baseman was out too far as the cutoff man was concerned. Usually that guy will be around the mound. He'll replace the pitcher, but Ken Caminetti was between the mound and second base.
So Finley could not gun down Graffinino coming to the plate. Weiss gets it done for Atlanta. That breaks that string. 16 postseason at bats without a hit. Runner in scoring position, and now Williams fouls it out of play for strike 1. Leadoff walk started this. A walk to Graffinino, who was at the plate for the first time in this series, and during the regular season hit only .211. One ball, one strike on Williams.
I think all things considered equal, leadoff walks lead to more run-producing innings than any other factor in baseball.
And especially a leadoff walk to the number 8 hitter in the lineup.
Right.
It really allows that opposing manager to send his pitcher up there to advance the runner into scoring position, and they played textbook baseball so far this inning.
Down and in, 2-1. Sandy Koufax used to say that he pitched the 8th place hitter tougher than anybody else in the lineup for a number of reasons. With 2 out, you get him, you have the pitcher leading off. You get him to start an inning, now you've got the pitcher, you should be 2/3 of the way through the inning. And the leadoff walk hurts Hitchcock here in the 3rd. A check on the runner Weiss.
Sandy was the first pitcher that I ever heard say that he's hitting 8 for a reason.
That reason, 2-11. Graffinino's case. 2 balls and a strike. Pitch stayed up from Hitchcock. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The Braves are getting some pretty good rips at those high fastballs this inning. Swung through them in the 1st inning. Williams able just to get a piece of that one this time. The location on this pitch. See, Leyritz reaches up around mask level on the outside part of the plate. Williams looking to right field as he swung.
Late break back to the bag, but Weiss is there ahead of the tag applied by Joyner.
You better eat that ice cream fast here today.
It's the kind of day it is. It's an ice cream melting day. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. Williams jammed but fought it off.
And with the combination of Hitchcock on the mound, Leyritz behind the plate, the Padres are going to have problems stopping potential base stealers. Hitchcock allowed 16 stolen bases in 18 attempts, the highest percentage of any pitcher in the National League.
Williams pulled the trigger a little too quickly, and it stays 2-2, although with Weiss on base only because of that strained left quad, you wouldn't expect him to run.
Good look at the last pitch from catcher Cam. Something off speed. Gets Williams way out in front. Hooks it foul down the left field line.
The 2-2. Full count as Williams checked his swing. They don't even bother to appeal. And now we'll see if they start Weiss.
Mentioned Hitchcock's problems denying the stolen base. Jim Leyritz, 1 of 11 this year catching attempted base stealers.
Not running to steal the base in this situation. You've got to make sure the pitcher pitches. He can't get picked off right here.
Runner was going, and Williams fouls it back and out of play.
And unfortunately, Bob Brenly, you said last inning that he had to get someplace else, get hit someplace else to take his mind off his right foot. I think this was the backswing of Gerald Williams. He releases that top hand and hits Jim on the left wrist. A lot of times the hitter will come up and warn the catcher, look, I've got a backswing, so give me an extra 6 inches behind the plate. That one hit Jim Leyritz right on the back of the hand. Catching hand.
Good news is his foot doesn't hurt so much anymore. One more look at that big backswing from Gerald Williams. Let's go with the top hand.
It's the way acupuncture started, by the way.
Is that right?
It hurts here. Stick a pin in here. Now it hurts down here. It doesn't hurt back there. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. Weiss was going on that last pitch. Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw down, still not in time as Leyritz got nothing on that throw.
And the reason for that is Gerald Williams, in his follow-through, almost interfered with Jim Leyritz. He had to throw over Williams. Watch the swing. Walt Weiss is running, and you can see Williams almost interfered. It does not have to be intentional. Unintentional interference can be called also.
Many times in that situation, the catcher will make sure to make contact with the batter. If that hitter falls across the plate, you jump on his back as you're attempting to throw. You can see Williams is directly in line with the bag at second base as Leyritz made his throw.
Now with Weiss at second and 2 out, the batter is Chipper Jones. Here in San Diego, first 2 innings were scoreless. The Braves got the first run of the afternoon in this inning. A leadoff walk to Graffinito. A bunt and a base hit by Weiss. One ball, 1 strike as it pops out of the glove of Leyritz, who's having a long inning. Joe Buck along with 2 ex-catchers, Bob Brenly and Tim McCarver, watching and sweating along with Leyritz behind the plate this afternoon.
And empathizing.
And with that shaved dome back there behind home plate, there's nothing to absorb the perspiration. It's just rolling right off of his bald head and right into his face.
I don't empathize with that.
Runner at second, 2 out. 2 balls and a strike on Chipper Jones, who walked his first time up. The corner, 2-2.
Now with that breaking ball on the outside corner, a lot of hitters will give up on that ball thinking that it's outside. They see the break, stays outside. Good pitch from Hitchcock.
You go splitter in the dirt here?
Yes.
That's his out pitch.
Splitter in the dirt, taken for ball 3, 3-2.
Throw him another one. No way you give in to Chipper Jones in this situation. Not with Galarraga, 0 for 9 in the series. And there's the splitter. Nice play by Leyritz.
A tumbling rotation once again. Almost like a globe spinning on its axis as it comes up to home plate.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Jones with a base hit into left field. Walt Weiss comes around third. The throw by Vanderwall. Weiss. A long inning for Jim Leyritz. At times a painful inning. How else should it end? Down 2-0, the Atlanta Braves desperately trying to get that first lead. They got it. The Padres, though, may have taken the momentum right back on that play at the plate as Weiss was thrown out by John Vander Wal. He'll be O'Veras, top of the order for San Diego, with Finley and Gwynn to follow against Maddox. 1-0 Atlanta. That misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Joe, you talk about unlikely. John Vander Wal only started twice in left field and really made his career out of pinch hitting for the Colorado Rockies. He does not play defense that often.
Harris out in front, strike 2. No doubt the gimpy leg, the left quad, played a part in giving Vander Wal a chance to get Weiss. That being said, a strong throw, an accurate throw, and the final out in the top of this third. That's foul.
It was a good play on the back end, too, because as Jim Leyritz stayed at home plate, he gets the in-between hop. You have to determine whether it's better to leave your base and go up the line and catch it on a fly, or get the in-between hop. Sometimes you have to take the in-between hop. But a good play by Jim Leyritz, who certainly made the right decision. Boy, has he had a tough game so far. Man. No wonder he catches only once every 5 days. He has to.
Body can't take it.
No.
Veras to the right side. Galarraga feeds Maddox, 1 away. And Veras is 0 for 2.
We're going to get a look at that last play. See Walt Weiss cutting the bag at third, rounding, coming home. The throw by Vander Wal all the way in the air to Leyritz. He's able to apply the tag down around the shin and hang on to the ball. Look at the same play from catcher Cam. You see Walt Weiss coming in hard, and that will be the last you see from catcher Cam today.
So 1 out, nobody on, and the batter is Finley. Maddox misses up and away for ball 1. Finley a single back in the first inning, then 1 out later. 2 out in the inning. Galarraga made an error, then a walk, but Leyritz struck out with the bases loaded. The Padres missed the first inning chance. Strike 1 on Finley.
That static you saw at the end of the picture many times is what goes behind a catcher's eyes rather than just on catcher Cam.
Almost looked like the static hit before Weiss hit. Just the anticipation. A drive into right is foul off the bat of Finley. Strike 2.
I'll tell you, in looking at that play, you have to wonder if Walt Weiss had gone around Leyritz, would he have made it? It's almost like he went inside the line to knock him over. Inside the line, if he slides outside, it looked like Leyritz was protecting himself from the collision, and had Walt gone around him, a better chance to have made it, but he elected to go into him, and a base runner's got to make that decision too. Not from that angle, it looked like Leyritz had the line protected pretty well.
The 2-2 to Finley. Just got a piece.
You know that slide to the outside of home plate where you touch home plate with your hand, that's often the best way to go around a catcher, but Walt elects to try to knock the ball out of Leyritz's hand, and he's thrown out.
That kept it a 1-run game. Atlanta out in front, 1 out, nobody on, and the 2-2 pitch to Steve Finley. Into center field for Andruw Jones. Drifting back to get it. 2 gone.
Happened to see the American League Championship game last night, won by the Cleveland Indians in solid fashion. You see the play of Omar Vizquel at shortstop, and Yankee hitters hit it to him. It's the wrong guy. Well, if you had a fly ball to Andruw Jones, it's the wrong guy, too, as we take another look at that throw from Vander Wal.
Well, we'll never know, but it appeared that perhaps there was a little alley to the foul side of Jim Leyritz to get around the tag.
Two out, nobody on. 1 ball, no strikes. Wynn leans back 2-0. One downside to the control and the expertise of Maddux is when he runs one up and in, everybody figures it's with a purpose. It's not a mistake that gets away. It's tough to hide things as Maddux drops one into the strike zone to make it 2-1 on Gwynn. Base is empty for Tony, and a ground ball to second. Rapinino lays back, makes the play, and we move to the 4th inning. Atlanta will bat, send in Galarraga, Jones, and Perez up by 1. He'll grow into the helmet. He's experiencing his first National League Championship Series here in San Diego. The only other time they were in it, 1984. And apparently he has experienced a little too much at the start of the day and now needs a nap to finish this one off a little later. It's 1-0 Atlanta leading as we move to the 4th inning. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Atlanta. Galarraga, Andruw Jones, and Eddie Perez against Hitchcock.
Well, that young man was probably here very early today. This is one of the better tailgating baseball parks in the country. You're used to it in football, but very rarely do you see it in baseball except here in San Diego.
San Diego and Milwaukee with the bratwurst.
There you go.
See a little bit of everything.
Great hair.
Thing 1 and thing 2. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bad moss right there.
Greg Maddux relaxing for a little after he has thrown 3 shutout innings. Right now, Galarraga at the plate. Strike 2. Galarraga just doesn't look fresh, does he? He looks a little tired.
Still behind the fastball. Behind the fastball his first time up. And these are usually balls that Andres gets in front of.
As Leyritz did there to block it 2-2. Galarraga struck out his first time, and that runs his numbers. As you see, Clarence Jones, the hitting instructor for Atlanta. Galarraga now 0 for 9 in this NLCS. Still no run production. We'll chase it 3-2.
Consider the timing with a guy who has the type of stance that Galarraga has. He's got so much to do with the lower part of his body. Obviously this year and in years past with the Rockies, he's done that so well. But he's got to start a little earlier. And for that reason, if a ball's inside and hits him, he can't get out of the way. He was hit 25 times this year.
The 3-2. Galarraga pops it foul. Andres owes a lot of his success recently to that new stance, and if that's the case, then he owes a lot of thanks for the success in that new stance to Don Baylor, who was his hitting coach in St. Louis. Don Baylor opened him up. The 2 ended up in Colorado. He draws a leadoff walk to start the 4th inning here. The 3rd walk issued by Sterling Hitchcock. 2nd time in a row he started the inning with a leadoff walk. Our Aflac trivia question: since division play began in 1969, what World Series champion had the lowest postseason batting average?
First team that comes to mind, the Baltimore Orioles in 1969 against that terrific young Mets pitching staff. Jerry Koosman, Tom Seaver, Gary Gentry, a young Nolan Ryan. Couldn't he break in that year?
Jones into right down the line, and it will head out of play for strike 1. You and I will just sit there silent.
Yes, we will. Well, the way this series is going, unless Atlanta gets it in gear against the Padres pitching staff, we may break whatever the record happens to be.
Look at Chipper Jones, part of the Atlanta Braves, who came into today's game as a group, hitting 172 in this NLCS. They have a run on 2 hits this afternoon as Jones fouls it back here. Strike 2. Well, we know that the 69 Mets fared well against the Baltimore Orioles, winning that World Series So it would take them out of contention, if I understand the question correctly, as Jones strikes out on a pitch low and away.
Oh, the winning team.
Yeah.
Ah, the winning team. All right. Orioles losing to the Mets that year. Misconstrued the question.
1 on, 1 out now.
Might have been the Mets.
Why not? Just stick with 69.
Why not?
Ryan Bollringer is getting loose with the Padres out of their bullpen. He's kind of been a forgotten man in the postseason. Has yet to appear as Hitchcock tries to get around another leadoff walk. Helped himself by getting Jones, and he misses outside with ball 1 to Perez. Check on Galarraga. Galarraga stole 7 bases and attempted 13 on the season. Not the fastest guy in this lineup, but they call him the cat for a reason. He is quick. Staying put as Perez floats one into left field. That will fall for a hit. Played on 1 hop by Vanderwall. A walk, a strikeout, now a single. The bottom of the order coming up. The Atlanta Braves have something working here in the 4th.
Talked about this briefly the other night. What about the 4 primary catchers with both clubs? Carlos Hernandez, Jim Leyritz of the Padres, and Eddie Perez and Javi Lopez. The postseason for all 4 of them have just been terrific. Everybody knows about Leyritz's prowess. 7 hits for Carlos Hernandez. Javi Lopez with the big home run against Kevin Tapani. Eddie Perez, a grand slam home run against Rod Beck of the Cubs in Game 3 of the divisional play. Great offense from the catchers on these 2 teams.
Free swinging Danny Batista goes up there and misses a fastball. Strike 1. Runners on for Atlanta. Already leading 1-0 here in the 4th inning, and Batista a slow roller to third. Caminiti's only played at first, out, and it's 2nd and 3rd, 2 down with Graffinino coming up.
Caminiti loves to showcase that arm. Every opportunity he gets to air one out, he does.
Can't blame him.
And with an arm like this, you love to throw. Takes a couple of crow hops just to get a little more momentum on that ball, and then throws a laser across the infield.
Used to always be a bad sign for whoever was at first base, as we're going to see an intentional pass being given to Tony Graffinino. Load him up with 2 out, and Maddox coming up. When Sean Dunston first came up with the Chicago Cubs, he pat that ball into the palm of his glove a couple of times. And Chicago first baseman would get ready.
Mark Grace has caught a few lasers of his own from Sean Dunston. It's an interesting play right here by Bobby Cox, an intentional walk. I think, or by Bruce Bochy. I think one reason for this may be that if you try to pitch around a guy like Graffinino, you end up throwing that split finger fastball in the dirt. It squirts by and a run scores. There's a big difference in pitching around a batter with a runner on 2nd base as opposed to runner on 3rd base. Because a pass ball, wild pitch, and a run scores.
So the bases are loaded with 2 down, and it's interesting because Maddox can handle the bat.
Right.
Hitchcock. Maddox shoots one into left field. Vanderwall back to get it to end the inning. Maddox reached up, hit it hard, but right at Vanderwall in left. A hit, 2 walks in the inning, and we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Padres bat down 1. How about the bottom of the 4th inning with the Braves leading 1-0? Caminiti will walk in and lead it off with Joyner and Leyritz to follow. And this crowd, which was so loud at the start, trying to crank it up again for Caminiti. is up from Maddox for ball one. Caminetti bounced one to first. It was booted by Galarraga back in the first. So 0 for 1. On the outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. The first foul, strike 2. One interesting aspect to this game, or really any game, with the Atlanta Braves, has to do with that catcher's box behind the catcher, which we have been tracking. I'll try to explain exactly why that's important as Maddox works. For the most part, Eddie Perez has been within it, at least lately. Caminetti fouls it away.
A lot of people don't realize that a catcher has to stay within his box. The catcher's box is 43 inches wide. That's about a little more than 3.5 feet. You have to have both feet in the catcher's box before the ball is delivered. And as you see Perez right there moving on the line. Sometimes that line indiscernible after the first 3 innings because catchers rub it out. We talked to Paul Runge, the umpiring supervisor, before the game, and he said as long as 1 foot's on the line, there's no problem. And all the umpire will do is remind the catcher to get back in the box.
Caminetti jerks it foul down the right field line.
Not as much of a factor today with Maddox on the mound as it will be if we see Tom Glavine again in this series. We saw Javi Lopez back in Atlanta several times had a foot out of that catcher's box as he set up to receive pitches from Glavine.
Bruce Bochy has talked to Paul Runge, the umpiring supervisor, about that. Paul Runge, an umpire and a good umpire from the San Diego area. Umpired for 24 years and is now the supervisor. But Bruce talked to Runge about that very thing before this series started.
The 3-2 to Caminetti leading off, and we'll do it again. But there are times where it looks to me like Perez will set up outside off the corner. Maddox will hit that glove, and the Braves are so tired of hearing about this. But you talk to people around baseball and they'll agree that it's not 1 or 2 inches off the outside corner. It's more than that as Perez sets up outside and Caminetti gets it off the end of the bat. Into right for Williams. Caminetti's 0 for 2.
Larry Dierker, the manager of the Houston Astros, and his catcher, Brad Ausmus, really started the rumbling about the last month of the season about how the Atlanta catchers are moving out of the batter's box. Bob, you had a great thing before the divisional play the other day with Maddox pitching, how his catcher, Eddie Perez, moves outside, and often that puts clearly out of that catcher's box.
Joyner takes the ball inside.
Well, for years when you talk about a catcher setting up on the outside corner, that generally meant that he splits the outside corner with the center of his body. But many times, especially when Lopez is catching Maddox, he will have his left shin guard on the outside corner and his entire body out of the strike zone.
Technically, that's illegal because both feet, again, have to be in the catcher's box.
Right on that line as Joyner fouls it down the left side. And now he's in the hole 1 and 2.
And as Runge told us before the game, just like the batter's box, the batter just has to have contact with the line. The majority of your foot can be behind the back of the batter's box as long as you're making contact with the line. Same thing with the catcher.
It's out of there right now. He just moved the left foot out of the catcher's box. And again, catchers will rub that line out to obscure it. It's more of a psychological thing than anything else. I mean, if he's centered outside the strike zone and the pitcher hits the center of the glove, watch Eddie Perez. See, that's technically outside the catcher's box.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Joyner pops it into left center field. Andrew Jones going over, but he will give way to the left fielder, Danny Batista. 2 out. We will answer our Aflac trivia question. Since division play began in 1969, what World Series champion had the lowest postseason batting average? At least Tim came up with a guess. we did nothing. The 1974 Oakland A's hit 198 in 9 postseason games. And our Aflac trivia answer.
Oakland Athletics that year beating Walter Alston and the Los Angeles Dodgers. That was the year that Mike Marshall, great screwballer, appeared in 106 games that year. Cy Young Award winner. A great A's dynasty of 72, 3 and 4 world champions.
Leyritz struck out with the bases loaded his first time up, and now he gets drilled. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Other pitchers, you can say, well, that one got away. Leyritz wiser than that, as he has a few words with Maddux. Pitches just don't seem to get away from Greg Maddux.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. That's generally what starts those bench-clearing brawls you see during the course of season. Not a wild, erratic pitcher that hits somebody in the back, but a pitcher that has good control hitting somebody in the back.
Right on the left shoulder, right to the left of the L in Leyritz's name. No reason whatsoever for Maddux to hit Jim Leyritz in this situation. However, you see Eddie Perez out in front of the plate. Jim with some words, but no action.
Some words, no action, and even though that pitch was at least around the chin, the head area, he didn't immediately drop the bat and go running out there after Maddux. Nice to see. Leyritz handled himself well. And now he's at first with 2 out, and a strike over the inside corner to Vanderwall.
I think he's smart to handle himself well. The worst thing that could happen to the Padres now is to wake up the bats of the Atlanta Braves, and that's one way to do it, to start getting into a knockdown war.
1 on, 2 out, nothing and 1 the count on Vanderwall. Takes side. Chip Caray is down near the field. And he reports to us that just before that pitch, Leyritz had asked the home plate umpire, Tom Hallion, to check the baseball. And the very next pitch, here you go, Jim, you check the baseball. Off your shoulder. Vanderwall comes up empty, strike 2.
Well, catchers, more than any other player on the field, realize how quickly a ball can get scuffed, even when you don't realize it. A ball that bounces in the dirt, a throw back to the mound that perhaps bounces in the dirt, a ground ball to the infield that bounces in the dirt at first base, all situations where you could easily get a scuff on that baseball. Maddux doesn't need any more help.
Vanderwall strikes out looking to end the inning. Intentional or unintentional, Leyritz hit by a pitch, stranded. We've played 4, and the Braves down 2 games to none, lead it by 1.
Leyritz, as he came to the plate and asked home plate umpire Tom Hallion to take a look at that baseball, just to be on the safe side. Hallion calls for the ball from Greg Maddux, and then, as you said, Joe, he gave Leyritz a very good look at it on the first pitch.
That note passed along by Chip Caray. And you see Maddux talking about it over there on the bench as Weiss reaches up and pops it into left field. At the track is Vanderwall to put it away and have a seat. 1 out.
I'm only laughing. John Vanderwall certainly did the job. Glasses askew. Check this out. He does not have his glasses on, but John at the base of the wall. Have a seat. And a big back to that seat, too.
So it works.
Catch it before it hits the ground.
Ugly but useful. Every other cliche we can throw out there. 1 away, and the batter is Gerald Williams, who's 0 for 2. But just to go back to Leyritz getting hit by a pitch. Now, these Atlanta Braves have seen enough of Jim Leyritz, and you were saying during the break, Tim, Maddux is one of those guys who will notice something like that, and not to use the word upset, but it rankles him a little bit if you do something out of the ordinary. And Leyritz walking up. See Maddux over there maybe talking about that situation. Upset with Leyritz, and then on the first pitch ran one up off his shoulder.
There are a lot of pitchers who have the philosophy, if you want to upset my rhythm, you're going to have to pay for it. Don't mess with my rhythm. You can hit my hangers, you can do this. Don't mess with my rhythm. And that's Greg Maddux.
Hit 7 during the season, #1 on this Braves staff. And again, it's one of the things that goes along with having the reputation for great control and being able to make the ball dance like Maddux seemingly can. You hit a guy, well, immediately people start to think it was intentional, whether it was or not.
Jim Leyritz's tough day continues, by the way.
1 out, nobody on, and Williams. There's another one. Bounces in and catches Leyritz.
He's forgotten about his foot. He's forgotten about his left wrist. Now his left shoulder hurts. I don't know if the San Diego trainer has enough ice for Jim Leyritz after this ball game.
It's all short-term memory. The 2-2 pitch is ripped foul.
And just to complete the thought on Maddux, there are those around baseball who, because of the tremendous amount of movement he gets on his pitches, have accused him over the years of doctoring the baseball in some way, shape, or form. But as Leyritz did in the ball game today, it has been done several times throughout the course of the regular season. People check the baseball, nothing is ever found.
Williams strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning, and that's 5 for Hitchcock. We talk about the tough day for Jim Leyritz. Here's a look at it.
Off the foot. Left wrist. Everything. Left shoulder. That's our pain package with Jim Leyritz. Bad package right there, man. Woo.
2 out, nobody on, and with Chipper Jones at the plate, Hitchcock misses with ball 1. See the day for Jones. He's walked, he's singled. One and one. We had a chance, as we do every game, to visit with each manager before the game, and while we were talking to Bobby Cox, he was preparing for a team meeting, and it was not a feel good, hey, rah rah, we're good, let's go get them. It was seemingly going to be a wake-up call from Bobby Cox, who said, when I start rolling, there's no telling what is going to come out of my mouth.
He said it depends on how many cups of coffee I have before the meeting.
Two out, nobody on, and the 1-2. Hitchcock has struck out 6. The Braves go in order. Halfway through game number 3. 1-0 Braves.
Is brought to you by GMC Sierra. 1%ers, step forward. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You either have it or you don't. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
One of the world's most enduring symbols, a Goodyear Blimp Eagle, has been providing these aerial pictures all afternoon. So look inside the Goodyear Blimp and how it maneuvers. Try its website at www.goodyear.com. Strike one to Chris Gomez leading off. 5th inning, and a fly ball into shallow right. Easy for Gerald Williams, 1 away. We came back from break. Maddux was out there ready to pitch. He was held up by the umpire because network television wasn't back. I hope he didn't throw one at us. We have upset his rhythm.
I think we're far enough away from the mound that we'd be able to get out of the way.
All right.
Maybe.
If it hits us, it wouldn't hurt anyway.
That's right.
From up here.
But it would be intentional.
Yeah, I'm not talking about 60 feet 6 inches.
Hitchcock trying to go the other way. It's through for a base hit. The 3rd of the day for the Padres.
That 5.5 hole, which you get for having a locker close to Tony Gwynn's, just past the diving Walt Weiss. Makes it look easy right there. Just slap it. Just slap that ball to the left side.
Works one through there.
Hitchcock is on. He's 1 out of 2. And the batter is Kilby O'Veris, 0 for 2 against Maddox. Strike over the outside corner. Veris is struck out and bounced out to the right side. Braves has seen enough of Padre pitchers who can hit. And with 1 on, 1 out, Veris chops it back to Maddox. Play to first out there. And it's going to be up to Finley with a tying run at second and 2 out here in the 5th inning. Here's our game summary brought to you by MCI. The only RBI of the day belongs to Walt Weiss, his first of this postseason. And the pitching lines: Maddox, 4 2/3 innings pitched, no runs on 3 hits. Just 1 run on 3 hits against Hitchcock. He has walked 4, including 1 intentional walk. And now he has a base hit. Coming off game 2, Kevin Brown went 2 out of 4. Extended 1 inning to allow an RBI single by Veris. And then later got a leadoff base hit in the 9th inning to take some of the pressure off, as he would come around to score. Finley takes a ball. Finley a single up the middle his first time up. He flied to center. Back in the 3rd. That's foul.
Pulling that ball foul. We told you in game 1 of the LCS what a pull hitter Steve Finley is. That's why it's very difficult. You see Andrew Jones even playing him into left center. It's very difficult when Steve has to face a guy like Maddox, who has that tailing fastball away. It's tough to pull him.
Into left center field. Andrew Jones, can he get there? No. Down and to the wall. Hitchcock will score, and we're tied at 1.
And Steve Finley didn't pull him.
He goes the other way to drive in Hitchcock. Bobby Cox had to walk out of the dugout to get Eddie Perez's attention because it's so loud here, to call for the intentional walk to Tony Gwynn. So the Braves will walk Gwynn and face Caminiti with 2 on 2 out in a tie game here in the 5th inning.
Choose your poison.
Gwynn, a .455 lifetime hitter against Maddox coming into play today. Caminiti at .284, but he has homered against Maddox. Caminiti a little bit more of a free swinger, obviously, than Tony Gwynn. Perhaps Maddox feels he can get Caminiti to chase a bad pitch and get himself out in this situation.
Bobby Cox still trying to get somebody's attention out there on the field. Can't get anybody to look over or hear his whistling as Maddox misses up and in with ball 1 to Caminiti. Caminiti needed any extra incentive to get Maddox. He got it with the intentional walk to Gwynn. Up the middle, through. Base hit. Here comes Finley. Over to 3rd is Gwynn, and the Padres take a 2-1 lead.
Caminiti goes back through the middle of the field. Graffinino is shading in the hole between first and second. Caminiti, normally a pull hitter on the ground, finds that hole back through the middle of the diamond.
Maddux has sent 2 wake-up calls in the last 2 innings. He hit Leyritz with a pitch. And then the Braves and Maddux intentionally passed Tony Gwynn to get to Caminiti. Even though you can understand the logic, Caminiti has to think, okay, give me a shot. And he came through with a base hit up the middle. Now first and third, 2 out for Joyner. And a strike from Maddux.
And Jim Leyritz lurking in that on-deck circle. You know he'd love to get a shot at Maddux in this inning with some runners on base and a chance to do some damage.
Outside corner, strike 2 on Joyner.
Bruce Bochy may elect give Joyner a chance to hit up to 2 strikes, and now he may send Caminiti. The throw is through. We'll see what Tony Gwynn does, even though still nursing that Achilles problem.
Really have 2 guys on base right now that aren't running well, Caminiti and Gwynn. Gwynn's got the bad left Achilles tendon. Caminiti the strained right quadriceps muscle. Caminiti takes off. Joyner pops it up into shallow left center. Andrew Jones will give way to Batista to end the inning. But San Diego comes up with 2. A hit by Hitchcock, the pitcher. RBIs by Finley and Caminiti. It's 2-1 San Diego after 5. When you are involved in 2 LCS series, which is kind of redundant in your 30-year history, you have to call the fans in your hometown ready. And these fans have been ready and just looking for a chance to erupt since the start of this game, and they got their chance at the bottom of the 5th inning. The 2-run scoring by San Diego. RBI singles by Finley and Caminiti. It's 2-1. Galarraga leads off, facing Hitchcock. And Atlanta better start getting something out of Galarraga if they plan to do anything in this series against San Diego. He is 0 for 9 with 0 runs batted in. (3-0) from Hitchcock.
Dangerous pitch right here. Look for the ball in one area, your area, if you're Galarraga, and go for the pump. And Dave Stewart coming out to tough, say, wait a minute. Just 1 second.
We talked about it in Atlanta. Bobby Cox loves to turn his hitters loose on 3-0 counts. He puts a lot of faith in their judgment to get a good pitch they can handle. A pitch they want to hit. Not a good pitcher strike, but a good hitter strike.
Well, Tim, you talked about Steve Finley's approach at the plate just before he delivered for San Diego with a 2-out RBI single. We have a microphone on hitting instructor Merv Retman, and here's what he said after Finley came across to score.
That ball you throw foul is good. You're doing it right. I don't give it. It's not one of these on an outside pitch. You're standing up and down on that mother.
Here's a strike over the outside corner to Galarraga.
And obviously what Merv has been preaching to Steve Finley is to drive the ball the other way. Don't loop the ball the other way. You don't have the power to drive it out. Drive it, and he certainly did that.
Galarraga trying to go the other way, fouls it away, 3-2.
Here is that pitch one more time to tie the ball game. Finley on a 1-1 pitch. Change up and away, driven to left center to tie the ball game.
3-2 to Galarraga. Hammering after that high pitch and keeping it 3-2.
And that's so valuable to get that immediate feedback, to have that hitting coach right there as you get back to the dugout, because it's still fresh in your mind as a hitter what you just went through. And Merv Redmond right there to give some positive reinforcement to his center fielder.
Again, the 3-2 to Galarraga. A leadoff walk. So Hitchcock gets the lead and walks the leadoff man, Galarraga, here in the 6th inning. Well, the ALCS continues tonight on NBC at 7:30 as the Yankees look to even the series at 2. New York will send Orlando El Duque Hernandez to the mound, and Dwight Gooden will pitch for the Cleveland Indians. What a matchup as Gooden takes on New York. We're going to have a pitching change here, which will give us an opportunity to talk about tomorrow, Game 4 of the NLCS. Denny Nagel and the Braves square off with Joey Hamilton and the Padres, and our coverage begins tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox, your home of the 1998 World Series. Sterling Hitchcock got the lead, issues a leadoff walk, and leads to a standing ovation. Pitch from Donnie Wall, the new right-hander, is low to Andrew Jones. A leadoff walk. Spelled the end of the day for Sterling Hitchcock, and now Donnie Wall, during the regular season, had a record of 5-4, a very good ERA out of the Padre bullpen, and already has a save in this NLCS. Deals, and Jones gets a base hit to center. Galarraga will hold at second, and the first 2 are on for the Braves here in the 6th inning.
By bringing the right-handed Wall in, Bruce Bochy is trying to get Bobby Cox to turn his lineup around. He won't do it with Eddie Perez. Eddie Perez is a very, very good bunter. And now Bochy with the left-hander up, so if Bobby Cox retaliates and, for instance, has Ryan Klesko on deck to pinch hit for Danny Batista, and Bruce Bochy has the left-hander warming. You may see a bunt here. I don't know. I think you would. That's Klesko on deck.
Here is the bunt from Perez, and he missed it for strike 1. Let's go down to Steve Lyons.
Thanks, Joe. When Caminiti got that big hit, Greg Vaughn tried to pump him up a little bit by talking about lack of respect by walking Joyner in front of him. Caminiti refused to get into the bad-mouthing of the staff of the Atlanta Braves, and he said, hey, we got a long way to go here. Back to you guys.
All right, Steve. 2 on with nobody out. And another to Perez, who bunts it to third, perfectly placed. The throw to first, the sacrifice good, 5-4. So they do keep Perez in there. They do ask him to bunt, and now Klesko walks to the plate to pinch hit for Batista.
Eddie Perez trying to make the third baseman feel the ball, and a fine job by Perez. Third baseman, the heat's on him immediately to make up his mind. Caminiti did, and was forced to take the out at first base. Sacrifice successful.
And this being his home field, Ken Caminiti realized that ball was not going to go foul. Some fields, they manicure the lines to roll the foul, the bunts foul. Other fields are level and the ball stays fair. Caminiti obviously thought that ball was going to stay fair, so he picked it up and got the out.
Now with Klesko announced and first base open, the Padres will intentionally walk Klesko. Second intentional walk handed out by San Diego. Graffinino waits on deck, but remember, the Braves have a very strong left-handed bench, while Dave Stewart and the Padres have the left-hander Mark Langston getting ready in the San Diego bullpen. So we're going to see some managing and some changes here in the top of the 6th inning.
Bobby Cox, there's Langston. Bobby Cox has the option of going to a left-handed batter. Keith Lockhart comes to mind, and now Graffinino being called back, so Lockhart will be the batter. Or is it going to be Michael Tucker? It'll be Michael Tucker, because maybe he doesn't want to waste Lockhart in this situation. You pinch hit an outfielder, and then you don't have to waste your second baseman who's already in the game. In other words, Lockhart's got to go into the game in the bottom of the 6th inning. So that's why you use an extra outfielder in this situation instead of the guy that must go in the game.
So Michael Tucker off the bench. One other option is Malloy over on that Atlanta bench defensively. But they keep Lockhart on that bench. They also have Guillen on the bench. They have Tucker. Don't forget Javi Lopez and Greg Colbert also over there for Bobby Cox. And right now, with the bases loaded and Atlanta down 2-1, 1 out in the inning, and it's up to Michael Tucker. And are you surprised to not see a pitching change with Langston?
I think you mentioned it, Javier Lopez. I think that's the reason Bochy's not taking the right-hander out in lieu of Langston.
Bruce Bochy likes this matchup better. Wall against Tucker. And Tucker is quickly in the hole 0-2. The runners on with Atlanta down by 1 in the 6th inning. 1 out. Michael Tucker shoots it foul down the right field line. That might have emptied him.
Well, in the 6th inning of a ball game, you don't normally concern yourself with depleting your bench later in the ball game, but we saw Bobby Cox in the first game of the series end up using Tom Glavine as a pinch hitter because he exhausted all of his bench.
Tucker strikes out. 2 gone.
Fastball on the outside corner to Tucker. Now Michael fouls it away. He wanted that ball fair. And at the splitter, 4 strikes to Tucker.
And the reaction from Javier Lopez over on the Atlanta bench, so Tucker didn't get it done. And now the bases are loaded with 2 out for another pinch hitter, Greg Colbran. 3rd in a row off the bench for Bobby Cox, and Colbran takes a ball from Donnie Wall. This means that Maddox is finished for the day.
Colbran 2 for 2 in this LCS as a pinch hitter. You saw that 2 for 4, but that included league divisional play against the Cubs. Padres have not gotten him out yet.
Down the left field line, but hooked foul for strike 1.
Now, this will probably be the last inning where visibility is not a problem in this ball game. The shadows just moving out over home plate, and the shadows behind home plate that eventually will move into play. You can see from the rafters and the standards that hold the lights here at Qualcomm Stadium, that is definitely going to become a factor as this game wears on.
One ball, 1 strike on Greg Colbran. A late season pickup by the Atlanta Braves to bring him back to this type situation. He takes the ball inside, 2-1. Colbran was with Atlanta last year. They let him get away. They got him right back down the stretch. Bases loaded, 2 out, 1-run game, and strike 2 on Colbran. Lahridge just couldn't hang on. Hitchcock watching from the bench. The 2-2 from Wall. Back here in San Diego, Donnie Wall. A terrific job. Colbran didn't get much of a swing at all, and the reaction of the starter, Hitchcock, who handed off to Donnie Wall in the top of this 6th inning. And Bruce Bochy, who has been lauded here in San Diego for his managerial moves, won that inning because he didn't make any outside of making the 1 pitching change, bringing in Donnie Wall. And even though Bobby Cox went to the left-handed hitters off the bench, Bruce Bochy liked the matchup with Wall out there. He stuck with him, and Wall got out of trouble. And now Dennis Martinez takes over facing Leyritz, and that's just outside for ball one. Keith Lockhart takes over at second base, so he's in the game anyway. And will be put in that number 8 spot. Klesko stays in the game. He's in left. A little pop-up into center. Off the bat of Leyritz and into the glove of Andruw Jones. Ryan Klesko in left field. He was a pinch hitter in the top of this inning and drew an intentional walk.
Dennis Martinez, El Presidente. Veteran pitcher, he will make up pitches if necessary to suit the situation. Throws a sinking fastball, a cut fastball, an overhand curve, a slider, a change, and he's been accused of throwing a variety of other pitches that aren't necessarily within the framework of the rules.
Vander Wal into left center field off the end of the bat. Andruw Jones gives way to Klesko. 2 up, 2 down against Dennis Martinez, the winningest Latin American pitcher in Major League Baseball history. We got that on August 9th. His 244th career victory.
And Joe, you may see 2 changes for the Padres in the top of the next inning. Jim Leyritz may be out of the game. John Vander Wal may be out of the game. Bruce Bochy giving him one more chance to hit before he goes for defense.
Gomez takes the ball low and away. Padres won game 2, allowing Greg Vaughn to rest. An off day yesterday, and we haven't seen him so far this afternoon. Tough play for Weiss. Circles, throws, and gets him. Good play by Walt Weiss. And we go to the 7th inning here in San Diego. The Braves will have the top of their order back after this from your local Fox station.
Got it.
I think these fans aren't ready.
Come on.
They've had fun through the first 6. As Donnie Wall goes back out for another inning to take on the top of the lineup. Tim McCarver told you about the defensive changes that would be forthcoming. Ruben Rivera now in left field, taking the place of Vander Wal, and seemingly every move as Carlos Hernandez takes over behind the plate. Every move that Bruce Bochy has made has paid off. Even the non-moves have paid off. But you look at Vander Wal, who is typically a man off the bench in clutch situations using the bat. What did he do here this afternoon? Back in the 3rd inning, threw out a runner, Weiss at the plate to end the inning and keep it a 1-run game. Here's a little pop-up on the infield. Gomez couldn't see it. And Weiss is on base to start the 7th inning. Even with the glasses on, I don't think he ever flipped them down, and he paid the price right there.
Bob, you were talking about at the last inning about the vision here, but you were referring to the batter's box and the hitters and not the shortstop.
Now you can see from the shadows behind the position players, that ball is right in the sun. Gomez tries to hang in there as long as he can.
No glasses. He's got glasses on, but not down. I think he has them on.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. So a missed play on a ball that's ruled a hit with an assist from the Sun. And Gerald Williams is up and taking a strike from Donnie Wall. So Weiss now 2 out of 4. With that little pop-up on the infield ruled a hit. And Gerald Williams is 0 for 3 at the plate. One ball, 1 strike.
Sometimes on a pop-up in the sun, you can move yourself a couple steps to one side or the other to try to get an angle, but that ball was not hit high enough in the air for Gomez to get an angle on the ball.
Now the 1-1. Williams tried to bunt and missed it. Strike 2. He tried to bunt back in the 1st inning, showed it twice in the 2nd time, popped up back to the pitcher. Tying run is on at first with nobody out. Here in the Atlanta 7th. Down are the Braves, 2 games to none. Williams strikes out, and it is obvious that these hitters are having a difficult time picking up these pitches. You could see it with Colburn last inning, and you see it there with Williams.
And generally it will be on pitches that move, either a breaking ball or a split, something that's not straight as it comes to the plate. You begin to track that ball, you see it well into the sunlight, it gets into the shadows, and suddenly you lose it. On a fastball, that ball will maintain its path on the way to home plate. a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch is going to change once it reaches the shadows.
Shattered bat, ground ball to short. Gomez will step and throw to end the inning. Jones did not get out of the box well, and walking through the shadows and back to the dugout, Donnie Wall doing his job again. Beautiful day in San Diego. These fans are having fun, and we go back to the double play off the bat of Jones.
Ball hit right off the very end of the bat. The bat shatters in Chipper Jones' hand, and Gomez takes it himself at second. A strong relay throw to first to bail the Padres out of the top of the seventh.
Mark Sweeney was announced as a pinch hitter here, guys, and before the inning gets underway, before Sweeney even got into the batter's box, Bobby Cox made his way out of the dugout. He's already got his new pitcher, the left-hander John Rocker, on the mound. And Rocker takes over here in the seventh inning with his Braves trailing 2-0, 2-1 in this game.
That is a very shrewd managing move by Bobby Cox.
So John Rocker will take his warm-up tosses, and Sweeney is still in the on-deck circle, so it looks like Rocker, who did this during the regular season, compiled a record of 1-3, a couple of saves, hard throwing left-hander, very good ERA, will work to Sweeney, Barris, and Finley.
The reason that is a shrewd move by Bobby Cox, you send the right-hander out there, you force the opposing manager to make the move, and then once he announces the left-handed pinch hitter, then you bring in the left-handed pitcher without having your guy who pitched the last inning to pitch one pitch in here the seventh inning. And you don't see this move that often.
So Dennis Martinez has a perfect sixth inning. And now here in the seventh inning, it's John Rocker. And we will remind you to watch for the Gillette Mach 3 Strike Zone Challenge prior to Game 4 of the 1998 World Series, where you will see one lucky fan get the chance to throw a pitch for $2 million. You'll see the 1998 World Series right here on Fox. And trying to get there, the San Diego Padres trying to upset the Atlanta Braves. They lead 2-0. And here in the bottom of the seventh inning, John Rocker, who was so ready to come out of the bullpen, he sprinted on. We couldn't even take a break. And it's a good thing because Sweeney steps right into the batter's box, and we're ready for baseball. Sweeney during the regular season hit .234. Former St. Louis Cardinal and Angel. Sweeney first up in the bottom of the seventh inning, and first pitch is low for a ball.
Aren't most Cardinals?
That's a good point. I just said Angel because I think when he was with the organization, it was the California Angels, now the Anaheim Angels. Sweeney pops it foul left side, and the count 1-1. In fact, I'm sure of it. He was a California Angel. He befriended a longtime baseball man in the Angel organization, Jimmy Reese, and then went to the Cardinal organization and befriended George Kissel. Two men with about as wealthy a baseball knowledge as you will find. Mr. Reese passed away, and Mr. Kissel is going strong.
About 110 years of baseball experience between those two fine gentlemen.
Sweeney pops it foul.
Now, one thing that they have yet to teach Mark Sweeney, however, is how to handle left-handed pitching. This year, 0 for 10 on the season against lefties. Sweeney is generally used as a pinch hitter off the bench when Bochy can get the correct matchup, get him in there against a right-handed pitcher, but forced to face Rocker right here, a tough lefty on left-handed hitters.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And again, Bobby Cox knew that, and that's why he brought the left-hander in. Since the Padres are up 2-1, Bruce Bochy, to lead off an inning, is not going to waste a right-handed batter that he may need later, particularly with 2 of them in the game now. For defense, Hernandez and Ruben Rivera.
Best moves made by Bruce Bochy so far in this game are the non-moves. You don't always have to react. The 2-2 pitch. Sweeney strikes out. While Sweeney walks away, we want to take a moment. Those of us here at Fox would like to express our condolences to the family and friends of Bob Siderman, Fox's senior audio consultant. And our thoughts are certainly with his wife, Andrea, his children, Alexander, Troy, and Ashley. His visions and professionalism brought sounds of the game to you folks. Will never be forgotten. Nickname of Spider. And while we at Fox are proud of some of the innovations audio-wise that tried to bring along, Bob Siderman was leading the charge. Silvio Veras digs in and fouls the first one away for strike one with 1 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 7th. One ball, 1 strike. It is a scary proposition, guys, for the Atlanta Braves to be down 2-0, now trailing in the late innings of this game. Difficult to see at the plate with Trevor Hoffman lurking in that San Diego bullpen.
And then starting tomorrow's game in the twilight, or the gloaming.
1-2 the count on Veras.
I talked to Jim Leyritz about these shadows that we're seeing extend from home plate out to the mound, and he said it's not so much the pitcher being in the sunlight, the batter being in the shadows, but as you can see, there is some sun around home plate. The ball flashes on the hitter. You see it briefly, you lose it. You see it again, you lose it. That's what makes it so very, very difficult for the hitters at this time of day.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Silvio Veras, trying to reach base for the first time today. Came into this game having reached base 5 times in 10 plate appearances.
Well, you see those shadows. Actually, Veras standing in the sunlight. The shadows of the light standards are what causes that ball to flash as it comes in there.
That missed outside. Eddie Perez popped up, zipped to throw it around, but couldn't trick Tom Hallion, and the count full 3-2. One out, nobody on, and ball 4 to Veras. Puts him on. That's the 3rd walk handed to San Diego this afternoon. You're in that position as a pitcher knowing that the hitter can't see the ball. The one thing you can't do is walk him.
Well, a lot is made about a hitter not being able to see the ball, and that's certainly true. But a pitcher has a tough time in situations like this, too. You're looking through the shadow to the sunlight. Nobody ever talks about that. Talk about it from the other end, because those are the guys who have to make contact with the fat part of the bat. But it creates a problem for a pitcher also.
But the main problem, Bob, is reaction time. And being forced to react in an even shorter amount of time than usual.
Steve Finley, we've talked about throughout this series, very much a pull hitter, although the big hit he got in this ballgame was to the opposite field.
Veras running. They have him caught. Throw down by Galarraga to get him. Caught stealing 1-3-6. Rocker started it, and Galarraga made a good play in the middle to get the high throw and fire a strike.
Galarraga actually has to leave his feet on the high throw, but he positions himself inside the line so he can throw the ball to Weiss inside the line. Watch how Andres goes to meet the ball. High throw, and yet a good one to get Veras.
Now the ground ball to the right side off the bat of Finley. Galarraga feeds Rocker, and the Padres send only 3 to the plate in the 7th. Getting late for Atlanta in the series and in this game. 8th inning, 2-1 Padres. Folks, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Dan Miceli is the new San Diego hurler. And it is his duty to set up closer Trevor Hoffman here this afternoon. 2-1 San Diego, 8th inning, and Galarraga takes a fastball for a strike. Braves still waiting for Galarraga to bust out of this. He has walked twice this afternoon. Checked his swing, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now, this is a guy Bruce Bochy wants on the mound for the 8th inning, no doubt about it. He's been death on hitters here at Qualcomm Stadium this year. A 1.96 ERA at home, 1.78 batting average by right-handed hitters.
Now Galarraga set up at 1-2. Look at the Atlanta Braves box score. The only RBI and only the 3rd of this series belongs to Weiss. Nothing at the bottom of the order. Very little in the middle. Galarraga stays up there.
Bob, I think for that reason, Maselli's in there to pitch to 3 hitters. Galarraga, Jones, and Perez. After that, it's either going to be up to Randy Myers if it's this inning or Trevor Hoffman if it's the 9th.
Because of Klesko, Lockhart, and then a pinch hitter. Galarraga shoots a base hit into center field, and he picked the perfect time for Atlanta to come up with his first hit of this series. The tying run is on to start this 8th inning for Atlanta with Andruw Jones coming up tonight. What do you call a crook who preys on defenseless women? Busted. And all new cops. And you can help bring a serial killer to justice. And all new America's Most Wanted. It all starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tonight on Fox. Andruw Jones now after a leadoff hit. Jones has popped a home run in this series. He's the go-ahead run at the plate. And he pops it foul back here.
Maselli's first pitch in on the hands of Andruw Jones. Andruw with such long arms, he can actually reach that ball off the plate away. That's why a lot of pitchers try to crowd him. You can see Hernandez inside. That pitch by design, not a mistake.
Jones into left center field. Finley over to get it. Glasses on, makes the catch, 1 away.
I think this trip by Dave Stewart is just to give Randy Myers a chance to warm up. I do not believe they'd take out the right-hander Maselli after what Bob just said with the job he's done. This is just a courtesy visit to give Myers a few extra pitches in the bullpen.
And many times as a manager, if you know you're going to take a pitcher out to face the next hitter, you're not afraid to waste a visit right here.
Yeah, right.
And I'm sure Dave Stewart just reminding Maselli of the scouting report on Eddie Perez, how you want to go after him. And stall for a little time for Randy Myers at the same time.
Say it again about Bruce Bochy. The San Diego team has won its division 3 times in its history, and Bochy has been the manager 2 of those 3 seasons. 96, now 98. Many around baseball applauding the way he has looked at and set up this NLCS for the start of Ashby in Game 1, coming back with Brown, and he's made some shrewd moves and non-moves in this game alone. Eddie Perez with 1 on, 1 out. One ball, 1 strike. A leadoff hit by Galarraga. Jones flied out. Perez in the hole, 1-2.
Good off-speed pitch by Dan Maselli. Normally a very hard thrower, hard sinker, hard slider. Takes something off, gets Eddie Perez way out in front.
Another hit for the Braves. Perez goes up and lines it into left field. 2 hits in the inning. That is only the second time all afternoon the Braves have had 2 hits in 1 inning. And it's 2 on with 1 out. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. They'll pinch run Marty Malloy for Perez. Eddie Perez does his job. Ends the day 2 out of 3. And there's the go ahead run. Malloy at first. And here comes Bochy. And with Klesko coming up, we're going to have a pitching change. So we will take a break. Randy Myers with that chug in from the bullpen. He'll take over with the Pods up 1. Ryan Klesko takes on Randy Myers. 2 on, 1 out. 2-1 Padres in the 8th. Klesko tried to check his swing and did. Ball 1 low and away from the left-hander Myers.
Good look at the check swing from Klesko. Apparently held the barrel of the bat back behind home plate.
The runner's on. Galarraga the lead man. Malloy the go-ahead run at first. 1 out. And a strike from Myers.
Klesko's only been up 61 times this year. He only has 13 hits against left-handed pitching. As you look at the numbers for Randy Myers. Instead of pinch hitting Javi Lopez here, Bobby Cox will probably pinch hit him for Malloy. Or Lockhart, who is on deck. But the problem with that is once you bring Lopez into the game, then a rested Trevor Hoffman's going to come into the game. If you pinch hit Lopez right here for Klesko, you're out of outfielders. You only have two outfielders. So you'd have to put one of the infielders in the outfield.
And that's all because back in the 6th inning, Bobby Cox chose to use Michael Tucker to pinch hit for Graffinino, and then brought Lockhart into the game to play second base.
Right.
Used 2 players to fill 1 spot right there.
Yep.
A fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2 on Klesko. That makes it a full count with runners on at first and second, and I'll ask, do you start the runners with 2 on, 1 out?
Yeah, you know, it'd be a dangerous play in my view.
Well, Bobby Cox likes to do that a lot with runners at first and second, but Klesko's a guy that swings through the ball an awful lot. That would really be rolling the dice.
And Myers trying to get an early look at it. Looks back at Galarraga. Three balls, 2 strikes on Klesko. Runners stay put. Klesko fouls it just over the Atlanta dugout.
See, that's not a controlled 2-strike swing, just trying to put the ball in play. Klesko's looking to whirlybird up there no matter what the count is. Finishes with a flourish.
Again the 3-2. He walked him to load the bases. Maselli started this inning, allowed 2 hits, gave way to Randy Myers, and now Lockhart will walk in.
What a huge gutty at bat by Ryan Klesko. Randy Myers tipping his cap to him inadvertently.
And now with Lockhart at the plate, and again, few options left on the bench for Bobby Cox. He has Javi Lopez over there. He has a left-handed Guillen, who in this situation obviously isn't a factor. You've got Lopez in the on-deck circle to bat for John Rocker. So it is Lockhart against Myers with the bases loaded, 1 out here in the 8th inning. First at bat for Lockhart.
Only 189 against left-handers this year. 7 for 31.
And a foul backing out of play for strike 1. Lopez is already on deck. He's the only right-hander left. Left-hander is Guillen. Some here in San Diego cannot bear to watch. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Lockhart pops it up behind short. Gomez back, gives way to Rivera, 2 out, and the Braves miss a chance with Galarraga at third and only 1 out.
Now you're going to have Lopez as the pinch hitter, but his job's made very, very difficult because Trevor Hoffman's going to be the new pitcher. There is no way that Bruce Bochy will allow Myers to pitch to Lopez.
Right on cue. Here comes Bruce Bochy. Here comes Trevor Hoffman. And here comes the crowd. AC/DC blaring on the speakers here in San Diego, and this crowd rolling. Trevor Hoffman takes over. Saved 53 during the regular season, led the major leagues. 2-1 San Diego, 8th inning, bases loaded, 2 out, and Javi Lopez, strike 1. Strike 2.
Chip Series is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealers, and by the Document Company, Xerox. Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge.
High above, the Goodyear Blimp Eagle has been providing aerial pictures all afternoon and evening. At the controls, pilot Tom Matus. 1998 is the 100th anniversary of Goodyear and the 73rd for its blimp fleet. Down below, there's been some action. And Javi Lopez takes over behind the plate. And for another ovation, as Cianez gets ready to pitch, Tony Gwynn will lead it off.
And that top of the 8th inning has to be questioned. The managerial moves by Bobby Cox by not pinch hitting for Keith Lockhart with Javi Lopez at just not enough experience from the left side by Lockhart. But if you pinch hit Lopez in that 8-hole, you do have a little bit of a cushion because there's only 1 out when Hoffman comes in the game. And then if Lopez strikes out, then you've got Guillen to turn to.
A strike to Tony Gwynn.
You can understand not pinch hitting for Ryan Klesko, but not for Lockhart.
Strike 2 on Gwynn. I go back to what you talked about, though, Bob, back the opportunity before when Michael Tucker pinch hit for Graffinino instead of Lockhart. Then Lockhart was inserted defensively and was locked into that position in the order. As Tony Gwynn first up here in the 8th inning, will be followed by Caminiti and Joyner. Takes the ball, it's 1-2.
You've got a limited number of bodies to use over there on the bench, and as we've seen in the games in Atlanta and as well as here today in San Diego, Bobby Cox usually goes through most of his bench in 1 inning.
Ground ball to the right side, a good pickup and play by Lockhart, 1 away. We talk about managerial moves. How about starting John Vander Wal, and did this pay off back in the 3rd inning?
John Vander Wal with a perfect throw, and watch Jim Leyritz. Walt Weiss tries to bowl him over. He does bowl him over, but doesn't knock the ball out of the glove. That is the first assist at home plate from the outfield by Vander Wal since July 5th, 1992. 6 years.
How big is that run now with the Padres leading 2-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning?
The last time he did it was with Montreal here in San Diego, throwing out Fred McGriff, who was the receiver, Gary Carter, ending his career with the Expos.
Caminiti 1 out of 3, but it's a big one. The game tied at 1 back in the 5th inning. Caminiti came up after an intentional walk to Tony Gwynn and bounced a hit up the middle with 2 out. Both RBIs that inning came with 2 out, one by Finley, one by Caminiti. And the scoring has stayed the same since then. Nothing. All zeros from the 5th inning on, and I don't think it's just a coincidence that that's happened. As these shadows, again, not to overplay this, but as they creep closer and closer to the mound and now have taken over the mound, it has made a difference in the offense, which has been basically non-existent. 1 out, nobody on for Caminiti. Two balls, 2 strikes.
It's tough enough to hit major league pitching under ideal conditions, but you throw in some shadows out there between the mound and home plate, and it becomes doubly tough.
Base is empty for Caminiti. And now he's gone, 2nd out of the inning. One other point to keep in mind as we get ready for the 9th inning. Because of the way the bench has been played by the Atlanta Braves, the pitcher's spot is due up 6th. The top of the order will start the 9th inning. Weiss, Williams, and Jones. If anything gets rolling, then you've got the pitcher coming up, and the only man left on the bench for Atlanta is Ozzie Guillen. But right now, all focus on Wally Joyner. 2 out, nobody on, and Cianez misses with ball 1. Two balls, no strikes. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly with you. We're playing in the bottom of the 8th inning, and there's the line score. 2 runs and only 5 hits, no errors for San Diego. 1 run on 7 hits for Atlanta, and the Braves have scored a total of 3 runs in this NLCS to this point. Joyner pops it foul down the left field line, 2-1. Braves proving so far in this series that pitching alone will not win in the postseason. You need some offense, and the Braves are getting very little. Came in hitting only 172 as a team. The 2-1, 2-2 on Joyner.
Yeah, it's the San Diego Padres who's proving that their pitching at least is as good as Houston, at least is as good as the Braves. That's an arguable point. But you can not argue with the success that the Padres pitchers have had throughout this postseason, this being the 7th game.
Maddox lasted only 5 innings here this afternoon. He was taken out not because he was ineffective. There's Kevin Brown, who has turned in the best performance of this series to date. But Maddox was taken out of the lineup because the Braves were down, and that's when they started throwing all those players off the bench and into the game. Back in that long, very involved 6th inning, in which the Braves left the bases loaded and did not score.
They've left the bases loaded 3 times in this game.
Joyner takes a walk with 2 out. In walks Carlos Hernandez for his first at bat. In this postseason, a .333 hitter. Hernandez into the left field corner. Up against the wall, it's fair. Joyner rounding third. Klesko kicks it in the corner. Joyner to the plate. Safe, and the Padres lead 3-1.
That's the only way Wally Joyner scores on that play. is when Klesko kicks the ball. Joyner is not a fast runner, but watch Ryan Klesko try to come up with it. We talked the other night with the problems left-handed throwing left fielders have, and Ryan Klesko with another problem right there.
Ruled a straight RBI double as Joyner scored all the way from first. He reached on a 2-out walk. And now Ruben Rivera at the plate with Hernandez at third and 2 down. That gets away from Lopez. In to score Hernandez, and it's 4-1 San Diego.
Lopez moves out onto the outside corner. The pitch is over the inside part of the plate. Looked like perhaps a backup slider. It just didn't go where it was supposed to go.
Hernandez knew it all the way down the line. It has been ruled a wild pitch. If they review it, I would think they would change it. It doesn't matter for San Diego. They could care less. It's 4-1.
I would review that ball down the left field line while they're at it, because in my opinion, there is no way Wally Joyner scores on that ball unless Klesko kicks it.
Rivera lines a base hit into right field. And the inning continues. And here is bad news for the Atlanta Braves. Major League Baseball postseason history. Teams winning the first 3 games have never lost a series.
We'll add something else to that. In the history of sports in this country, no professional team that's ever been ahead 3 games to nothing, the other team has not come back, ever, in any sport.
Gomez fouls it out of play off to the right. Gomez 0 for 3. The San Diego pitching has been better. The San Diego hitting has been better. The San Diego defense has been better. And their base running has been better.
Not much left.
Rivera running. The throw down by Lopez, and Rivera steals second. It is worth, Bob, discussing who might take the mound tomorrow for Atlanta. Will it be Nagel, who hasn't pitched in forever, especially as a starter, as Bobby Cox makes his way out of the dugout? Or would the Braves go back to Smoltz, the Game 1 starter?
If you're talking to Bobby Cox before the game today, you got the feeling they were going to go with Nagel regardless of what happened. But he may be reforced to think that rotation, given the fact that it looks like they're on their way to falling down 3 games to nothing.
We're only in the 8th inning, but the Padres have opened it up now and lead 4-1 and have their closer in the game, Trevor Hoffman.
And that steal of second base put a lot of heat on Bobby Cox and Rudy Cienez. On one hand, the batter, Gomez, has a count of no balls and 2 strikes. On the other, with 2 outs, Trevor Hoffman's on deck. Do you walk a hitter with the count no balls and 2 strikes? They're not going to.
So even with Hoffman on deck, and there would be no way they would take Hoffman out of the game, they pitch to Gomez on 0-2, and he strikes out. So that ends a productive bottom of the 8th inning, and this crowd overwhelming with the Padres leading by 3. Top of the 9th inning, and the Braves down to their final shot here in Game 3, down 2 games to none. Trevor Hoffman, when he stomps in out of the bullpen, and we figure this not being Sunday, being Saturday and all, we can give you the lyrics to AC/DC's Hell's Bells. rolling like thunder, pouring rain, coming on like a hurricane. At the bottom, nobody's putting up a fight. There weren't many fights against Hoffman in 1998, saving 53 of 54. In the postseason here, trying to pick up his 3rd save. Dealing with Weiss and missing up and in with ball 1. Top of the order, Williams and Jones will follow for Atlanta. Threatening to fall down 3 games to none. 1-1.
Hell's Bells supposed to energize Trevor Hoffman and the crowd. When Bob and I were playing, it was Silver Bells.
The 1-1 to Weiss. Strike 2.
If you're not familiar with Trevor Hoffman, his most devastating pitch is that straight changeup that he'll throw about 18 miles an hour slower than his fastball. But in order to make it effective, he has to show that fastball early in the count to give the hitter a speed.
That was a floater fouled away for a 1-2 count.
It's really amazing, especially at field level, to watch Trevor Hoffman's arm speed, and then the way the ball just, it looks like a cotton ball coming out of his hand, just floats up to home plate.
And that's what makes the changeup, arm speed.
Weiss stays up there just to underline the job done by the San Diego pitching. And the venue may have changed, the city may have changed, but they're doing it again. 7th postseason game for the Padres. They've allowed a grand total against Houston and Atlanta so far, 11 runs total in 7 games. The 1-2 pitch, 2-2 on Weiss. Weiss the opposite way, and a good start to the 9th inning for Atlanta. Walt Weiss, his 3rd hit of the afternoon, and he's on to start the 9th. One scoring change, by the way, just so we don't forget. They did review and did change the ball hit by Carlos Hernandez. It's a double, an E7 on Klesko in the bottom of the 8th. No RBI, but a run nonetheless. In a 2-run 8th, it's a 4-1 game. Here's Gerald Williams.
This is a key at bat in the ball game. Braves trying to get 2 on for their thumpers. With Jones and Galarraga up there, and Andrew Jones following them.
1-1 from Hoffman.
And the Braves have had opportunities earlier in the ball game to run the bases. They elected not to. Hoffman is susceptible to the stolen base when he uses the high leg kick. When he uses the slide step, he loses some effectiveness on his pitches.
Strike 2 as Williams was out in front of a 78-mile-per-hour changeup.
When you're trailing 3 runs, however, the Padres don't care whether you run or not. Great changeup to Gerald Williams.
Again, struck him out. Back-to-back changeups and a strikeout of Gerald Williams.
That's about all National League hitters have done all year, is shake their heads as they go back to the dugout.
One on, one out for Chipper Jones. And a strike over the outside corner. And now Wally Joyner off the bag, and he will alert Hoffman to the fact that he is no longer holding against Walt Weiss.
He'll start out right behind the runner from that position and then back up into a better defensive position, giving himself a little bit more range.
One and one. The division series, 3 games, 15 runs for Bobby Cox's Atlanta Braves. In this NLCS, an average of a run a game. 2-1.
That changeup up that high in the strike zone, or above the strike zone, actually, is a very dangerous pitch. You see that changeup better the higher it is. Changeup down around the bottom of the strike zone is the one that hitters have problems laying off of.
Jones trying to push it down the left field line. It's foul, 2-2. Galarraga next. Galarraga trying to extend this 9th inning. 1 on, 2 out. And a heck of a block by Hernandez.
Well, there's no such thing as a bad block as long as you stop it, but I think Hernandez gets a little lucky right there. Catches that ball up high on the 1 hop.
Galarraga into right field. Tony Gwynn is there. Padres up 3-0. Change up your way after watching Trevor Hoffman. We change up on our Chevy Trucks player of the game. We give it to Bruce Bochy.
Padre pitching has just been devastating throughout postseason.
And on a day when we talk about the shadows, the Padres getting their moment in the sun out in the middle of the diamond as they are up 3-0 on the favored Atlanta Braves. And if the Atlanta Braves thought they would roll right through the Padres and get to the World Series for the 5th time in the 90s, they have at very least hit a wall here in San Diego with this 1998 Padres team. We'll step aside in the booth and go down to the field. Steve Lyons standing by with Trevor Hoffman.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. Trevor Hoffman here. Hoffman, you come in the 8th inning with the bases loaded. We've seen time and time again Javi Lopez come up with some huge hits. You blow him away on 3 pitches.
I remember those well, and he's a tough hitter in those situations, and you just try and make him pitch right there.
Your team has given up 3 runs, 4 runs in 3 games. You have an ERA of under 1. How about some respect for this staff?
Well, you go out and you earn your respect, and guys are going out and they're getting the job done. We got one big one left. We're going off the leadership of Kevin Brown. Donnie Wallace came up huge for us today, and we got one left to go.
Your manager, Bruce Bochy, he's not all that well known across the country, but how about the moves that he's been able to make in this series? Everything's worked out well for you guys.
Well, the moves that he has made and the moves that he hasn't made have been a big part of today's game, and you know, just everybody played a key role in this game today.
All right, go celebrate with your teammates. Have a good time. All right, Joe, let's go back to you guys.
All right, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Trevor. It's also a day of missed opportunities for the Atlanta Braves. They scored only 1. They left 12 runners on. The final in Game 3, 4-1 San Diego. The scene may have changed to the West Coast. The result the same. And the Padres up 3-0. Back in a minute. Diego couldn't wait to get the NLCS back here at this site.
San Diego, California, and we will be back at you tomorrow night. Fox Sports coverage of the National League Championship Series continues with Game 4 tomorrow evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, here in San Diego. The final here today, 4-1, as the San Diego Padres take a commanding 3-0 lead in this 1998 NLCS. No team in baseball history, in the history of postseason baseball in Major League Baseball, has been able to come back from this kind of a deficit. The Braves will try. They take on San Diego tomorrow night. For everybody, good night.